Welcome to this week's Scots in Us, a spotlight onto the Hebridean Islands and the Hebridean Island Princess Cruise Line. We at the ASF are so excited because we have been gifted a 7-day cruise for 2 people, which will be drawn in a raffle for Burns Night on January the 19th. This is an opportunity for you to support the ASF through buying some raffle tickets. More details on that later in the programme. But now let's turn to the Hebridean Island Cruise Line. The Hebridean Princess is a 50-person boat, and it's a wonderful luxury experience. The Hebridean Princess takes many different trips around the islands of Scotland, and we're going to spotlight today what one of those cruises would be like. So let's begin our spotlight on the Hebridean cruise Call of the Long Isles, which will embark and return to Oban. Let's be joined by the Hebridean baker to take us around the Isles of Harris and Lewis, 2 of our major stops on this voyage. Good afternoon, and I hope you're well.
Balcha, Camilla, great to be speaking to you again. Well, firstly, what a wonderful way to see the islands by cruise. That makes it just extra special. The cruise itself, they have wonderful guests on board. The dining is a real Scottish experience as well. I think this is one of those really special treats that everybody has to do at least once in their life. Many will start in the town of Oban on the west coast of Scotland. Oban is a great point to start your trip. Wonderful whiskey distillery. I'm from the Isle of Lewis, which is the furthest north of the Outer Hebrides. When you're on the island of Lewis, you're closer to the south coast of Iceland than the south coast of England. The coastline changes, the landscape absolutely changes. When you visit the Outer Hebrides, there are some must-do. On the west side of the island, it's the standing stones of Callanish. They're 5,000-year-old, older than Stonehenge. Are they pagan rituals? Are they burial sites? Nobody knows, but everybody has this real sense of feeling when they visit the Callanish stones. And only a few miles down the road, you'll be able to visit Gyaran and Blackhouse village. This is a recreated village of thatched stone cottages. And up until really the 50s and 60s, that was where the families of the Hebrides lived. With their animals. The houses were created that there was a central fire. The family lived in one end and the cows lived at the other to keep the family warm, basically. Cows are quite cozy and warm. And so you'll really get that feeling of being able to do that.
To be able to see the wonderful weaving that goes on there. The Harris Tweed Authority has really protected the integrity of the weavers and the life of the island.
My mother was a Harris Tweed weaver. My brother was a Harris Tweed weaver. We're very proud of it. You can't leave the island without visiting the beautiful Harris Tweed Hebrides shop in Stornoway and coming away with a beautiful new jacket or something because it's so unique and distinctive. The food culture is changing. We have the most wonderful seafood. We're starting to see restaurants appearing like never before. Oh my goodness, they're going to have the best trip ever.
And sailing along that wonderful, wonderful coastline.
So special. And you're intertwining through these little islands that even if you don't visit them, just being able to go and pass through the small islands of Rum, Egg and Muck, they're just so distinctive. And I don't know anybody who has visited and hasn't come away with a real special story.
Your cookbooks really transport people. So before they go off on their Hebridean cruise, if they win our raffle or they take it on their own, they should be buying your books because that'll give them a little bit of an insight. The way you bring the music and the poetry and the Gaelic to life within the cookbook is a whole flavour of it.
I would say they're more of a love story to the Hebrides that happen to have recipes in them. The conduit is definitely hearty, wholesome bakes.
So thank you for giving us a little insight. I've now got a favour to ask of you. Would you send us a greeting?
In Gaelic?
Yes, please.
Of course. So, Hydidinia, Novak Krial agus Blian the Vauer.
I haven't a clue what you said.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Along the way, you will also have the chance to stop at the wonderful Harris Distillery. It all began around 10 years ago when Simon Erlanger began the charge with investors to open the Harris Distillery. Now employing over 45 people on the island, they began with a gin that has won acclaim around the world, and this year introduced the very first whiskey, which sold out within 4 hours. But enough from me. Let's join Simon Erlanger. Simon is the managing director of the Harris Distillery, and we have been very proud at the ASF to be part of the journey and hearing updates and news from Harris for the past 9-10 years, Simon, isn't it?
Absolutely. Good afternoon, Camilla.
You really have grown this from an acorn of an idea into this wonderful oak tree, let's stay with the acorns, because it's wonderful, because it came up as an idea, you took it forward, and now when we were last speaking, you had 45 people working at the distillery, because of course you began with gin.
So you remember the idea for the distillery wasn't my idea. It was Anderson Bakewell, who's our founder director. He has been connected to the island for 50 years and has seen the population halve in that time. And it was he who wanted to build a distillery to try to reverse the population decline. We've got 45 people on our books. We're now the biggest employer in Harris. I think about 40% of those people are under the age of 30. So what we're doing, which I think was my real dream, was we're taking young people who've been to university and have been away and then want to come back to the island, and giving them careers. And the other thing that I love about it is the number of people within the team who've moved from one part of the business to another. So they're not stuck in silos. So they might work in hospitality and then decide they want to be in whiskey making. Or they might be in the bottling area and then end up in the marketing side. So we've got lots of people who are kind of developing quite interesting careers.
Now, you have won incredible awards for the gin. What's next with the gin? Are you going to do another blend, or is this the signature blend and that's where you're staying?
The great thing about the gin is we keep it incredibly simple. We simply make one gin, and we try to do it really well. So our signature gin, which is made using this sugar kelp, the seaweed that's dived for us here on the island. We have thought occasionally about producing a different variant, a different flavor, but it's very difficult to sort of know what we would do differently. We're not really wanting to follow any fads. We like to keep it quite pure. So I'm not saying we will never do that, but for the moment, the focus is, there's so much opportunity out there, especially in the United States. So many people who've not even tried it yet, that, we're busy enough just kind of introducing Isle of Harris gin as it stands to the consumers in the USA.
Well, thank you so much for making the time this morning to talk to us again. And we'll talk to you very shortly again.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Bella.
So having heard about the wonderful Isles of Harris and Lewis and the coastline, which is so dramatic, you will be passing the Isles of Uist, North and South Uist. You will be passing the Iona Abbey, and you will also be going past Skerryvore Lighthouse. It's going to be a magical tour. So if you don't win, you could always still be planning to take this great cruise with the Hebridean Island Cruises. Lots of details on their website, the address of which is below. And so if you'd like to purchase some raffle tickets and see if maybe you're the lucky winner, please go to AmericanScottishFoundation.org and click on the link which you will find on our Burn Celebration page. Thank you for joining us today, with best wishes for 2024, and to seeing you soon.